Hello everybody, welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm coming at you with an interesting video and a new camera today. As you can see, I'm out in one of my areas that I like to go to. There's about 6 inches of snow on the ground, maybe a little deeper, and my objective today of this video is to make a fire and under these conditions. On the top of my hat here you can see that I have a small stud, and what that is that's going to be to mount this camera to, and hopefully I'll be able to show you some cool hands-free footage of me making this fire. So I hope you enjoy the video. Stay with me. Okay folks, right here you can see that I have what used to be a key type fire lay, a fire pit. I'm going to use this small piece of wood right here because I don't want to use my hands to touch this cold snow, but I'm going to kind of scoop this area clean a little bit, try to expose the ground a little bit. I'm going to build me a little fire lay here in a second, and what that fire lay is for is basically it's an insulator from the soil here on the ground that'll hopefully keep those moisture and all that stuff that's in the ground out of our fire, so that when we go to make our fire we'll have a good chance at separating it from the ground. So you can see that there's a stick right here in the tree, nice and dead, stuff like this. I'm going to grab a few of these and I'm going to lay these down into my lay right there. Again, all these are for is just to create a barrier so that I can build my fire on top of that. I'm going to go grab a couple more. I don't know exactly where I'm going to go to get them, but that one. I'm trying not to move too fast. I know this camera, it's my first time using it, so bear with me folks. So there's a nice little lay. Now I can start putting my tinder bundle and my twigs and things like that on top of that. Now when it comes to making a fire, I basically have two triangles. The first triangle consists of 3 things, and these are 3 things that I need to have a fire exist. The first thing that I need is fuel, the second thing I need is heat, and the third thing that I need is oxygen. That's what I refer to as the first triangle of fire. The second triangle of fire is also things that I need to have to keep that fire going or to build that fire. And the first element of that is I need a tinder, which is a very small type fibrous material that's going to ignite easily. The second thing that I need is kindling. Kindling is things that are smaller than the size of a pencil in diameter. Those are going to be the thing that's going to light after my tinder takes off. And of course the third part of my second triangle is the fuel itself. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to find some of these things so that I can start building my fire. If you look forward where I'm looking, you can see small blades of grass sticking out of the ground. These are good because of a couple of reasons. They're small and they're dry. Okay, they don't have moisture on them that much. We're really lucky to have these small blades of grass. These work good when it comes to fire making. So I'm going to collect some of these. I'm going to let this camera roll also in real time so that you can see the amount of work that it takes to get a fire going and the kind of things that I'm doing and things of that nature. I'm not doing this to bore you guys, and I'm definitely not doing it to make a long video. I'm just doing it, like I said, to show you the steps that I like to use to make this fire. So before I try to get any kind of spark or anything going to ignite my fire, I like to try to make sure that I have all of my 3 elements towards my triangle ready. So I'm working on that first one. I'm working on the tinder. So I'm just walking around a little bit. I'm enjoying the weather. It's beautiful out here. The dogs are with me. They're loving it. They're having fun. The black guy here, he's never been in the snow before, so this is a first for him. Just like it's a first for me using this camera. This camera, it shoots in 1080. It's the company Ion, and the model that I'm using right now is the Air Pro, the Wi-Fi model. It's a beautiful camera. I really like it. And basically all I've done is I've mounted it to an old ball cap, and I filmed a video showing you how I did that. So as I'm picking these pieces of grass out, I'm just kind of shaking them and making sure that the snow's not connected to them, because I don't want any moisture in this first layer. This is going to be pretty much the most important part of my fire. So I'm just picking out these little pieces. Hey buddy, you like this? Is that a lot of fun? Is it fun, buddy? Huh? Get down. I don't want snow on me. Help me loosen up this grass, buddy. Help me out here, bud. Give me some of that grass. These dogs, they love coming out. It's a beautiful day. We come out and I practice my techniques, and my daughter makes a snowman and things like that. We have a good time. We enjoy coming out, and you know, we live in Arizona, so we don't get snow like this very often. So when we do, I always try to make it a point to come out and enjoy it. We don't get it that much. So I kind of, you know, it's not like I live in Alaska or nothing. I live in Arizona. So this is kind of an odd thing for us. And I like to hone these skills when I get the chance, which isn't very often. So there I have a nice small bundle of grass. And honestly, that should be enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take that grass and I'm going to set it over there by the fire. Just kind of walk around here. Hope I'm not boring you guys or making you dizzy. The dogs love coming out like this. When I set this stuff down, I don't want to set it in the snow, obviously. I want to set it somewhere where it's going to be away from any kind of moisture or anything like that. So I'm just going to set this right here on my lathe for now. The second triangle that I'm going to work on now is the kindling. And that's like stuff like this. I want to make sure that I get a good snap when I pull these off. And I'm reaching underneath these levels of the tree because inside over here, this kind of stuff does not get exposure as much to being wet as stuff that you would find on the ground. So it's important to get this stuff from underneath the tree and make sure you get that nice crisp little snap sound. That's important. So I'm just picking some of this stuff up. Again, this is my second layer. Just picking this stuff up. It doesn't matter what kind of wood, as long as it's dry and it has that snap. This is going to be an important layer. This is going to be the thinner stuff that's hopefully going to take off. And I like to stress that it's important to get all this stuff laid out long before you strike that spark, because we don't want to sit here and spark all day on our ferro rod. We want to try to get our fire done using the minimal amount of sparks as possible, because we don't want that ferrocerium rod to burn out. We want it to last a long time. And what I mean by burn out is making it spark too much unnecessarily. So I'm just here collecting a little bit of this stuff, and it is a slight bit damp, but it's dry enough to make a fire. So that's a pretty good little amount. Small stuff. I'm going to go set it over here. Let's see, what do we got here? I have this piece of wood here and that piece of wood there. I'm just going to set this stuff right there for now. That's going to be my second level, my second triangle. Now I'm going to go grab some actual fuel. And when it comes to fuel, it's the same thing. I'm looking for a little bit larger stuff, and I'm hoping to get that snap out of it. This fuel is going to be good snapping stuff and hopefully good dead stuff. That one didn't snap, so that tells me that one's still alive. This third level is just stuff that's larger than a pencil. If it's smaller, I'll put it in my second lay, and if it's larger, I'll put it in my third lay. So this is the start of my fuel. I'm gonna go collect a little bit more because I don't like getting too excited. I like to make sure when I throw that spark that I have everything laid out ready to go for me. See, here's a little bit of second and third layer stuff. See, there was a good snap. That's a good dry piece. So this is some good stuff. Just kind of setting this stuff down. And again, you want to make sure, not to reiterate here, but you want to make sure you got everything kind of close and kind of handy. Right here I have my large fuel pile. I know it's buried in snow and it's probably wet, but nonetheless I have it available for me. So I'm just walking around getting some of that third level stuff. I want it dry and I want it, and this stuff is a little bit moist, so it's going to take a little bit of effort to make the fire today. Hopefully it won't be nothing too difficult. And if you want to grab some smaller stuff, you can too while you're out. You can go, you know, it doesn't have to be third level. It's just we want to try to get this stuff available before we throw our spark. So you can see we have a little bit of our first level right here, second level, and third level here. So now in my pocket I have a small cotton ball. I'm going to work on that cotton ball a little bit. My plan is to open it up to expose the fibers, and what I'm doing is creating a thinner surface area so that that can capture a spark. I'm just going to set that right down there because what I want to do is once that ignites, my plan is to throw some of this stuff on it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of set this aside. Grab my ferro rod. This is courtesy of my brother Plumpy E. He does an amazing job on these ferro rods. I'm using a Mora HD, and I'm just gonna throw off of the spine, off the 90-degree spine of my knife. I'm gonna try to throw a little spark here. Now when I hold the ferro rod, I actually want to hold my knife solid and draw the ferro rod back. I don't want my knife going into my tinder. So I'm going to try to plant my hand here. It's kind of difficult. There we go. Got a little bit of ignition. Let's set that first layer up. Let's get my second layer. Lay that stuff nice and loose. Hopefully we'll catch. Hopefully I didn't get too excited throwing it all on there. We'll let that go for a minute. Looks like things are gonna work. I'm just gonna open this stuff up a little bit and let it dry, because you know, when I say let it dry, that's because all this stuff out here is kind of damp, and it's when that fire happens, it has to dry that stuff a little bit and then ignite. So looks like I might have got a little excited. I do have a flame under there though, so I'm just gonna kind of baby that flame, try to get some of this thinner stuff on it. Don't want to get too excited. Looks like it might have went out, and if it does, that's okay. It's okay. We'll just put this stuff aside and we'll just redo it. There's a little bit of my cotton ball left over. Let's get that ferro rod back. Let's try it again. Okay. We have ignition. Let's go a little bit slower then. See, as we put our thin stuff on there, it has to dry it a little bit before it actually ignites it. So the thinner stuff that you have on this first attempt, the better. Don't get in too big of a hurry. Just kind of lay that stuff on there and grab some of this grass and set that grass in there. Try to ignite that a little bit to keep your flame going. Get this thin stuff, and that little flame is hopefully going to heat that stuff up, and once it heats it'll dry, and once it dries hopefully we'll get that ignition that we're looking for. So I'm just kind of playing with this stuff and just trying to be patient, not getting too excited. Just trying to push some of that small stuff down in there into that area. Whoops, that wasn't good. I dropped some snow in there. And it looks like we're starting to get a little bit of ignition. But again, we got to be patient. Don't want to get too crazy. Take your time. Look at the situation. Don't rush it. Might have went out again, and if we did, it's okay. It's not that big a deal. If we went out again, it's no problem. It's just because this stuff is damp. So I'm going to grab me another cotton ball, and I'm going to use that again. Open these fibers up. My dog's over there looking for a place to lay down. Sometimes you don't need to spark that thing. Sometimes a little bit of airflow will get it going. Cotton balls, dryer lint, and things of that nature are excellent tinder. See that thing smoldering? I'll go ahead and throw another spark. There we go. I thought I got it. Might have missed. There it goes. Get another cotton ball ready. I think I'm going to need it today because a lot of this stuff is wet. Just trying to baby this thing to life. Get another cotton ball. Dryer lint, anything like that is crucial. Just gives me something to sustain this flame a little bit so I can heat this stuff up enough to get it to go. The thinner stuff is the ones I want to use right now, the very thin ones. I have another cotton ball standing by in my hand here. When you start your fire, your fire is in its infancy and you really have to baby it. Sometimes it takes a few attempts to get that thing going. doing my hand because I'm trying to give it a little bit of oxygen. I don't want to give it too much or I'll blow it out. So I'm just taking this thin stuff and putting it on the fire a little bit. Don't want to put too much or you'll smother it. Looks like we're starting to get a little bit of heat built. I have another cotton ball just in case. Just kind of letting it slowly grow. Yeah, it looks like we're starting to get some decent little flames, but we don't want to give up just yet. Took a few attempts, but you know, patience and perseverance and not giving up. The end result is a nice fire, as you can see. And hopefully it'll continue to get better for us. We'll let that thing get a little bit more on its own, and then we'll put that little bit of fuel on it, and then I'll start putting some decent fuel on it, but I just want to let this thing get going. You want to be careful not to put wet stuff, you know, with snow on it on top, because if that flame heats up that snow that's in your wood, then what'll happen is that snow will melt and it'll be putting water directly on your fire, and you don't want that. So we got to be aware not to let that happen. But it looks like we got a pretty decent, sustainable, small fire. We've got the basic fundamentals down here. So I'm going to just let that thing go a little bit. And in the meantime, I'm going to put some of this larger stuff on it and start drying that stuff off. Put it nice and loose, nice and open. Because again, I want it to heat. I want it to dry. And these guys right here, bang them against each other to try to get whatever snow I can off of. That'll be our first actual fuel. Now, I'm going to let that fire go just the way it is right now. I'm going to walk away for a little bit, and I'm going to pick up some fuel, and I'll be back. So, obviously, I'll be taking you with me with my new camera. I really like this camera because I can do my thing hands-free, and I don't have to worry about a tripod. I don't have to worry about all that stuff. It's kind of nice. You look at that and it's a nice clean break. That's a good piece of fuel. Just kind of breaking this stuff off. Again, you want that nice snap. Take these back, grab a couple more before we head back. That fire needs a second to get going. I'm just shaking this thing a little bit. There we go. Got a good snap out of it. Shake that and get the snow off. This is some pretty good little fuel. Let's go back. Put that on our small fire. This is so much fun coming out and doing this kind of stuff. I really enjoy it. There's our fire. Look at that. Starting to look like an actual fire. Pretty cool. I'm going to push this piece right up in the middle so it gets nice and hot. Set these down. Start laying these babies down. This is going to get us a nice bed of coals. That bed of coals is what we want. Because once we get that bed of coals, then we can put some real fuel in there. Now, under this pile, I have some actual fuel. Let's see what I got here. There's a piece of bark. There's something that might be, this might be usable. Just kind of lay this across. Let that baby start heating. So there you have it, folks. There's our fire. Took us a little bit to get that thing going. Again, I want to say thank you to my brother Plumpy E for providing me with this magnificent ferro rod. This deer antler came off of his father's deer a few years ago. I think this is really cool. So he puts out a great product. You got to go check out his channel. And in my pocket I still have what, 3 cotton balls? 4? Cotton balls are something that I always keep in my car, because you never know when you're going to need a fire. That tinder. You know, there's other ways that I could have used to get tinder, but cotton balls seem to work really good for us today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free, as always, to comment, like, share this video, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you like the content. Hope it wasn't too long-winded. And yeah, this is my first video shooting with this ion camera. I really like it. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye. Now go out there and make a fire.